Welcome back. If you were a first-time buyer, meaning you'd never owned a home before, would you choose now to buy a home? Got a listener question from Brian in Swanee. He and his wife are thinking about buying a home, their first home. They're wondering, maybe would it make sense to wait until next year? We'll talk about that. And then I read an article recently written by a guy named Brad Inman, who's kind of a thought leader in the real estate industry. And he posed an interesting concept, and the concept is this, that as the market starts to recover, there's going to be lots of opportunities for bankers and Wall Street to take advantage of homeowners. And he thinks that the main line of defense to keeping the bankers and the investors from taking advantage of the public is realtors, is real estate professionals, licensed real estate professionals. I don't know if he's right. I don't know if he's wrong. I think he's got a very, very good point. This segment of the show is brought to you by O'Kelly and Sorahan. They are a full-service law firm with 21 offices throughout Metro Atlanta, although in the time of virtual closings, I guess 21 offices is not as impressive as it used to be. They specialize in residential real estate closings, including home purchases, refinance closings, corporate relocation, real estate contract review, and title insurance matters. And they are our preferred closing attorney. And the reason they are a preferred closing attorney is closings are a very, very stressful situation. Am I signing the right numbers, the wrong numbers? There's so much pressure. I'm being run in and out of the closing room like cattle. And O'Kelly and Sorahan does what they need to in order to make everybody who's part of the closing process feel like they've been heard, they've been given the information, so they can be confident that the papers they're signing are the right papers for them to sign. They can be reached by calling 770-497-1880. I would not give anyone an endorsement on this show unless I believed in them personally. Let's move back to a listener question. Brian in Swanee. I love first-time home buyers. I love a first-time home buyer. I remember when I bought my first home. If you're out there listening, I bet you remember when you bought your first home. If you're listening and you've never owned a home, you're probably dreaming about the day when you buy your first home. But buying that first home is just amazing. It's an amazing feeling. I remember driving into the driveway the very first day I bought my home, and the garage door opener wouldn't work, so I had to actually get out and go inside and open the garage door so I could put my car in the garage because I was all that, you know. I had my own garage. And I'm telling you, man, that was the coolest feeling. That was the coolest feeling. Brian says, my wife and I are looking to purchase our first home. Would it make sense to wait until next year to start looking looking to let the coronavirus effects dissipate? Ooh, big word, Brian. I like that, dissipate. And I say probably not. If Brian and his wife are anything like Neil and his wife, who actually came to us about 4 weeks ago. He works for a big grocery store, certainly got good job security. I forget what his wife does. She's a cutie pie, by the way. I had never met her before. I had done business with Neil's family over the years, so I had met Neil several times. And anyway, they decided they wanted to move forward, and they decided they would not wait. The concern of somebody waiting to move forward, I assume, by the way, if Brian, who asked the question, if there was a chance that he thought he might be furloughed or lose his job, maybe he would want to wait. But if he felt like his job was really secure, I think he might have some opportunities if he moves forward in the market today that he wouldn't otherwise have if he waits until the market is more normal, because you would have more competition when things are normal. I don't know if you remember, if you were here during the second segment of the show, we talked about the month's worth of inventory, or sort of the law of supply and demand as it relates to real estate. And when you have more buyers who are out there and want to buy properties, then you have sellers who are interested in selling properties, then it's a frustrating experience for the buyer, because they go to make an offer on a property, and the next thing you know, 3 other yahoos, or that's what they think, are making offers on the property too. And because they're getting financing or not putting a big down payment or whatever it might be, and things that are common for first-time home buyers, you know, they get beat out by somebody who comes to the table and pays all cash. So my advice to Brian and Swanee is the same thing that we told Neil and his wife to do as they went through the process of buying and coming. And that is, if you feel safe and secure and you know buying a house is part of your plan, then it's not going to stretch you out too much, it's the right time for you, I say you get on after it. Because As was the case with Neil and his wife, when they made offers on properties, they were the only one making an offer. Now, I know I talked in the first segment of the show about all the numbers of properties that were listed this month and the numbers of properties that had price decreases and closed and went under contract. But the reality is the market is about 20% off of where it would have been had we not had the coronavirus. And so that means maybe 20% of the buyers have been pulled out of the market. And it makes sense if they're furloughed, if they don't have jobs, they certainly can't be out buying. And so, Brian, it could be that you and your wife are the only ones out there making offers on houses, and you might be able to get the house of your dreams without having 3 or 4 other buyers try to steal it out from under you. I know that they don't really mean to try to steal it from you, but that's what they're doing. And it's frustrating. Now, I've never had a buyer who was going through the process first time or otherwise who missed out on a house, who didn't find something that was just as good, if not better, at some point moving forward. But it is so, so frustrating. And so my suggestion, Brian, is that you and your wife move forward and get out there and at least put your toe in the water and see what is available so that you'll have confidence in whether or not it makes sense for you to move forward. And remember the inventory analysis that we've done already on the show. Brian, you could ask your real estate agent, and I don't know if you have one or you don't have one. If you don't have one, I'd love for you to take advantage of working with Gaddis Group here at RE/MAX Center. You could use our Sure Home Buying system. It is an exclusive system. We're the only provider of it in the state of Georgia. And it's a system we use to, number one, help you identify the house that is absolutely positively perfect for you, but it's also the system we use to make sure you get no surprises at closing or after. And as a first-time home buyer, that's what I would be worried about, would be learning something after closing I wish I had learned before. But with our Sure Home Buying system, that wouldn't happen. So, Brian, if you don't have anybody you're working with, we'd love for you to reach out to us. Our number is 770-497-0000, or you could just go to yourmoveatlanta.com, YOURMOVE Atlanta.com, and we'll be happy to reach out to you. I love it. I love people who are looking to buy houses for the first time. What an exciting thing. And I know, Brian, when you and your wife drive up to your house for the very first time, you are going to be so very glad that you moved forward with buying a home today instead of waiting. Let's talk quickly about issues that could happen in the market. I don't know how many of you have heard of iBuyers. Those are internet buyers. Those are people who will companies who will make you an instant offer to buy your home without actually seeing your home, although they do see your home before you close. But let's just say you needed to sell your home and you didn't want to wait to sell it because you wanted to have a guaranteed offer that would pay you cash so you could move on and buy your other home. People would sell to an iBuyer. Now, about a month ago, all of the iBuyers in the country actually shut down. Most of them have started back up buying homes again. When they came into the market, people were not desperate to sell. And now that we've had a crisis for the last 8 weeks, there could be a lot of people out there who are desperate to sell. And so a buddy of mine, Brad Inman, who publishes Inman News, a real estate publication, says that it makes a situation ripe for people to take advantage of home sellers who are desperate, and I agree with that 1,000%. So what do you do to protect yourself? Well, if you need to sell your house and you need to sell it quickly, feel free to get an offer from Zillow or Opendoor or OfferPad or whoever you want to, or better yet, call your favorite real estate professional. If you don't have one, who's your favorite real estate professional? I'd like to be your favorite real estate professional. You know how to get in touch with me. And we can arrange for you to have those instant offers as well. But then the key here is that we can help you understand whether or not that offer is appropriate given your circumstances. And there's nothing that says you can't sell your house for less money than it's worth if you want to. It's your house. You have the right to do whatever you want to. My issue is if you sell your house for less than it is worth and you don't know that you're selling your house for less than it's worth, that's the part that's not fair. So my suggestion is that if you're going to sell anytime in the next couple of months, that you get advice from a real estate professional, one that sells a lot of real estate in Metro Atlanta. And even if you plan not to use them in the transaction, you plan to sell to an iBuyer, I invite you to ask them to review the entire situation so that you can be confident you are not leaving money on the table. If you feel like your plans to sell or buy a home this summer were shut down because of coronavirus, I invite you to think again. My entire team is now Move Safe certified. We've got special protocols in place to help you sell your home so that you can move forward with life and buy the perfect home for you and your family, all while keeping everyone safe. We can keep everyone safe. To learn more about our protocols we have in place, visit yourmoveatlanta.com, yourmoveatlanta.com today, and download our free guides. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are featuring Clary Lakes in Roswell in our neighborhood spotlight, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. And is it possible that after the pandemic, easy for me to say, people are going to want to buy houses different than they wanted to buy before? Stick with us. We'll talk about those subjects and more. We'll be back.